To me, achieving an inspired state of mind is realizing that you can do it. So realizing that anything that comes to you, any challenging task, can be overcome or achieved if you realize that you can do it and you have the will to do it. So it's just a matter of getting that will and going and performing those tasks. I generally have a non-active lifestyle. So recently I went to San Francisco, and for the past few days, I think I spent about 3 days, 4 days there, walking in the streets of San Francisco. The hilly streets of San Francisco, I think, was very challenging for me. I'm not used to walking a lot, and I ended up averaging around 20,000 steps for the 3 days I spent there. So realizing that it was enjoyable, it was fun, and not that difficult. I think once I came back, I changed my settings, and now I'm averaging around 10,000 steps a day because it's that much easier and that much better for me. So.
And we're not talking normal steps in San Francisco. We're talking times 3, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did that help you achieve your goals here back east?
Yeah, I mean, when I came back, I realized that I can walk those steps. I can, go through and be more active. So coming back, we have a trail right behind my house. So I've been walking there more often, and I've tried to achieve that 10,000 goal. Before going there, my average was around 3,000 steps, which is pretty much, nothing. So that's something that I established and that I've been pursuing ever since. So that's
fantastic.
Good. Yeah. I mean, generally, I think what skill I have that, helps me do what I do and do it well, I think is my methodical approach to problem solving. I think if you go back to the way I use my Excel skills, I think on many occasions different departments have come with some specific issues that I've understood the issue and laid out in terms where I could create a macro, modify the VBA code in that macro to solve that problem. And right now I have some custom built macros that I use in finance and in HR because I employ that specific skill set there. And that was also something that was employed during my project of transitioning our accounting system back here in Prometric. So the methodical approach, understanding the system designs, and I think that's the most important skill that I'm employing across everything I do. So.
Nice.
And I have to go back to my dad. I think he passed away when I was 12, and I can still remember many things that he's done or as he's told me during my first 12 years, particularly in the area of schooling. First, he put me at school in first grade at 4 when the normal age was around 6. So I had 2 years to catch up, but I've not failed since I went to school. So I've been able to succeed and be at the top of my class for most of my school curriculum. So I can go back to that and say, okay, someone will push me and made me realize that I can do it. If I just want to do it, I have the capabilities. So yes, I think it's the inspired state is
an inspired state of mind.
An inspired state of mind is my dad helping me prepare my career.
Nice.
I mean, I think I'll go back to one of my managers here, Brad Erickson. During my time as a CSM, before I moved to accounting, I think the way he approaches his clients, the level of detail he has about his clients, the contracts, and his approach to forecasting their revenue. I think that ethics in the way he does it, I think has been a model for me. And when I moved to accounting, realizing that there are fewer issues with his client, I experienced it, and even my colleague in accounting realized that his clients had the lowest level of error rate. So I think that was an example, and that's something I try to and apply to my own role and my job. So I mean, Prometric has been a good place to help foster those states. So there has been just my career path here, moving from different roles and even changing departments, allowing me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And through that path, I've been able to actually pass my CPA exam. So I've been able to accomplish many things here because Prometric creates the environment where you can believe that you can do it if you just want to do it. You just have to ask and you'll be given the opportunity.
Okay, give me a shorter answer. Prometric means to you.
Prometric allows me to achieve my goals, allows me to believe that I can do it, and allows me to reach that inspired state of mind.
Man, time more time.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
So outside of work, the things that I think most inspire me are related to imagination and like using like kind of creative ideas and different thoughts and processes. So it's hard for me to think of a specific thing. I like to read. I love novels. One of my favorite genres is fantasy, but I also like to travel a lot. So it's fitting that we're in the Sydney room because when I was in undergrad, I studied abroad in Australia. So I had a great time doing that, and it was really a good experience for me because I was by myself. I met people while I was there, and at that place I was able to kind of grow as a person and learn a lot about who I am and what I want to be when I grow up and stuff like that. And what was really exciting about that, and to get back to the whole imagination thing, is that it was just so new and you had to really think of different ways of relating to people you've never met before. And getting back to the book part, I also like that because reading is just something that's very much like that too. You have to imagine these places that you're at, and just, you know, that type of stuff inspires me because it's also like, it's just fresh, it's new, it's something outside the norm. So when you go back to reality like this and everything, you can use that kind of as like your escape to kind of think of new solutions and be creative, especially while you're at work, because it gives you new ideas from the typical. I guess I'm trying to think of the best. Yeah.
Well,
so the most relatable thing that I can think of for that is when I first started working here, I was just so new in learning about the process of how I do my job. And after a while, you start to realize you have to be more better with checking the quality of the work that you're putting forward. I think that's pretty applicable to almost every job, but especially when you have people taking a test and they're so anxious themselves, and if they see any little error, it's going to probably throw a trigger at them and just throw up a red flag. So thinking of ways to review the work that I've done and the work that my colleagues and peers are doing, like quick ways to review that and just double check to make sure you've done it right. I think that's been the best way for me to like trying to think of a new way of doing things. So I've had some issues before when I was first starting off where like the quality of the work that I put forward may have not have been quality checked well enough. So thinking of a quick way to still do the work but that's sufficient is, I think, what has really been beneficial for me over the last year, and it's just thinking of better ways to do that.
that's great. You that kind of
Okay. The first person that comes to mind would have to be my brother. I mean, he was my best man at my wedding, and he's the person that's been like my best friend throughout my entire life. And we've been able just to be completely open with one another. We've helped inspire one another to like try and do harder things. I mean, he was actually the person who inspired me to study abroad because he himself went and studied in Australia. So I was like, wow, that was really cool. And he had such a great time, and I saw how much fun he had, and it made me want to do the same thing. And it was a different experience. It wasn't the same experience he had, but it was great for me because it was inspiring to have a new experience that was so I'm not sure how to say it.
You're doing
get caught up on words, and I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. But my brother would definitely be the main person in my life who's really motivated, and he's helped me along with things in rough patches, and he's always been there. So that type of support and that type of commitment back and forth is, I think, really beneficial, and it's been great to have him.
That's awesome. Let's talk about a colleague now inside.
Okay. So some people that come to mind are usually my direct reports and people that have been mentoring me since I've been here. Kate Hill has been a great inspiration for me because she's always had like a creative solution and sometimes some new ways of doing things that you get a bunch of people in the room and they may not have any like outcomes, and then it just throws out an idea that it may seem simple but you haven't thought of it before, and that type of kind of divergent thinking has been very helpful for finding out new ways of doing things, and like we were saying before, with quality checking and making sure you do stuff right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another person that I've worked with who's been great at doing something just like that has been Ivy. She's been a team lead for me. Well, she wasn't my direct report as a team lead, but she was a team lead in our division, and she's done a great job of reminding you of the things that you should always check before you turn in something. So lots of different jobs have deliverables, and there are certain things you need to at least make sure you do right before you turn it in. And even if it's very simple and not something that's very complicated to do, but it's still important. She's been great at reminding me to do that, especially with some of my clients that I've just like picked up and haven't had a lot of experience with. I don't know if I can name drop clients. I wasn't sure if that's okay or not, but she was our team lead for the IRS client, and she was very meticulous and very fastidious about reminding me to do certain processes that I may have overlooked because I was either rushed or too hurried. So that type of balance between getting the work done and getting it done right and on time has been a trick for me, but it's been great because I've had great leadership helping me throughout the process.
What is Prometric to you?
Prometric for me is an opportunity to, it's like the quintessential thing I've been describing, opportunity and change and like using your imagination. So everything that we've done here has been, you have to think effectively and creatively to get a new job done, because it's not the same job you did before. It's maybe a similar process like build this test, but build this test can be so diverse and broad. It's not so specific. There's lots of different tests out there. There's lots of different clients that you work with different expectations. And you have to really be creative and imaginative in order to get the work done and meet these expectations.
All right.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
I'll say it right into this lens right here.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
I think outside of work, inspiration comes from, you know, your family, your friends, lots of different experiences. And inspired state of mind to me is having an open mind, being receptive to the opinions of others, even if they disagree from your own. I think that's all relates to attitude. You have to stay positive and know when challenges arise that you can get through anything.
A goal.
This one was hard for me because I couldn't really think of one experience. There's been some personal experiences where, you know, I had a family member who passed in an accident, and it kind of makes you realize don't get caught up so much in the day-to-day of life. Look around, take a breath, be the best person that you can be, and then everything else will fall into place.
So, you know, whatever.
Right, it's just, again, you know, watching people go through a hardship and knowing that, you know, you see people every day reaching their goals and having to face challenges, and it gives you the inspiration to say, well, I can do that too. If they can do it, I can do it.
Very good. All right, experience.
Yeah, it's difficult being in human resources because you're not really facing the client, you're not working in a test center, reaching the candidates. So for me, I feel my contributions have to do with my strong work ethic, digging in, doing whatever it takes to get the job done, and hopefully that will be inspiration to the people around me to do the same.
Good. Has inspired.
I'd have to say my direct supervisor, Joan Para, we're just now working through an implementation where we have completely upgraded our HR, payroll, and time and attendance systems. And with any project, you run into some challenges, and she has really put her heart and soul into hours and hours of work, digging through the challenges, corralling large groups of people with different personalities to keep us on task, and we managed to open when we said we were going to, and we're now working with all the employees to make sure that it's a seamless transition for them so that we don't run into any additional challenges.
Awesome.
She, again, Joan she has expertly managed this project, and you know, like I said, with any project, challenges arise that you don't necessarily expect to occur, and we've been able to work through them all, and she's done her best to think of everything so that we don't have any problems. Prometric, I've been at Prometric for 16 years now, so it's family.
All the time, right?
Well, you know, I spent many years, my first part of my career, Prometric, was in the accounting and finance group, so I'm very used to being behind the scenes. So when I took the role in human resources was the first time I had ever interviewed people. We had a lady leave, so we were interviewing for a replacement. I didn't know what to do, what to say, and it's a place I'm not really comfortable, but I'm learning to work around that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so say Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Okay, look at this lens, and say it again.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Fantastic.
I would say what inspires me outside of work is the work of other people, especially with social media bringing people so close together. There's a lot of things that aren't so inspiring, but at the same time, I think sometimes you find things, different websites, different blogs, that really tend to bring you back and resonate with you, and that kind of stuff inspires me. Hard work, people working to make the world a better place, all of that I find very inspiring. Achieving an inspired state of mind, to me, you have to be a person who can be inspired. And in order to be inspired, you have to be someone who has a curiosity about the world, looking outside of what's familiar to you. You have to have a humility to recognize things greater than yourself. And I think it also requires being profoundly grateful for what you have so that you can recognize when blessings and inspiration come along. When I was growing up, I didn't think of myself as particularly creative or artistic. I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't act, I can't write music. But I took a journalism class when I was in college, and I had to shoot pictures. And I discovered that I really loved it, and I was good at it. And so that experience not only helped me see that there are a lot of different ways to be artistic or creative, to be inspired and to inspire other people, but it also helped me set goals to become a better photographer. I just recently set a goal to shoot a new technique or a new subject every month. So I'll let you know if I achieve that goal, but those are ongoing goals. I haven't achieved them yet.
You're well on your way. All right.
So skills that I contribute to the benefit of the business are that I am able to see Prometric subjectively, that I believe we have the best products and services for our industry, but I can also view us objectively so that I can put myself in our clients' positions, because we can think that we're great, but if we can't translate that into something that speaks to or resonates with our clients, we're not going to be successful. So I believe that those skills, the ability to see us both subjectively and objectively, enable me to put better proposals together and help us hopefully translate into more wins. Okay. Someone who inspires me, especially when I think about the theme of this video, I thought of my grandpa. My grandpa was a successful person, both in his career and in life. He taught me that it's hard work. Success is hard work, discipline, commitment. And I don't know who said this quote originally, but my uncle spoke, when he spoke at my grandfather's funeral, he said this, that my grandfather, that success was showing up on time, ready to play. And that was my grandpa, and I've always carried that with me. When I thought about this question and how to answer it, I immediately thought of a woman that I worked with years ago named Ella. I've worked with a lot of terrific people over the years, but Ella was one of those people. She did a lot of the behind the scenes work. She coordinated all of our meetings. She did a lot of conference planning. She did packaging. She just did it all. And I just remember that if Ella was on the case, if Ella was involved in the planning or execution, you could rest easy. She must have said, I already did it 100 times if she said it once. Ella, did you call? Yes. Ella, did you already? Yes. Ella was just one of those people that made everyone around her work a little bit harder and want to do better. And Ella was just consistently a person who made it so that so many problems did not come up in the first place. Okay, so what Prometric means to me, Prometric is a really interesting industry. It's an industry that I was not familiar with before I came here. I've been here a little over 2 years, and I'm still learning a lot about this industry. It's an industry that I never thought of before I came to work here. Who makes tests, who delivers tests. It never occurred to me that there was a whole industry behind it. So for me, Prometric is not only just an interesting industry for me personally, but I also feel like it's an industry that touches so many different people and provides opportunities for so many people.
Inspired state of mind.
Oh, okay. Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Now say it to this lens right here.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Well, my kids and my friends' kids, they go after what they want and they show little fear. And they're usually very happy about it. And I'm always telling them, you can accomplish whatever you want. Go out and get it. And I think that we should also take that into what we do in life and work and just go after it, and staying positive, having a positive outlook on everything that you do. And when you take that into, say, if you're going into a meeting, if a new project, taking that in there, and I think everyone around you can feel that. If you're going with a negative attitude, then it's not gonna, you're not gonna accomplish what you want to accomplish. So, well, I think in my job, I have a lot of meetings with a lot of people, and I get to meet different people in different departments, and taking that in there and letting them know what we're there to do, and it really helps them kind of open up and see that, I want to also let them know what's in it for them, and I think that helps.
That's awesome.
Well, the thing that I can think of that really comes to mind is in a previous job, a previous life, I went in and I really wanted to achieve more. I wanted to move up. I wanted to do whatever I could to get there, and I quickly realized that working with those around me and understanding their job and the way I could understand them the best is to do it and to get in there and see what they did and what that meant to the company. And then after I did that, it helped me set my goals a little clearer, and it helped me accomplish what I wanted, and it worked.
Good.
Communication, I think that's the best way to achieve any goal. If you're not communicating, then those that you need information from, or you're not going to get it, right? It's the ultimate way to collaborate with your coworkers and with your stakeholders and those that it's not only getting information from them, but giving them information. It helps them understand, the goal of the project, or, what the outcome's going to be.
Good.
A skill.
Yeah.
So I've been in the candidate's shoes. I've taken a test. I know the anticipation of going in and you want to do well, and the anticipation of hitting that end button and seeing that pass score on the screen. And it's such a sense of accomplishment, a personal accomplishment for that individual. And even this morning, I was on the elevator, and there was a candidate going up to take a test, and he was fidgeting, and he looked down at his ID to make sure it was ready. And I think that's what we're here for. That's what we do. And I think that really helps, or it inspires me to want to do whatever I can to make sure that they have a good testing experience. So I'd give 100%, sometimes more, to my job to make sure that we're doing it well and that it really is going to end up down at the candidate level and what their experience is at the test center.
Applications around the world.
Around the world. They go online and just choose whatever's closest to them or what's convenient for them. And since we have one right here in the building, we get to see a lot of candidates,
That's
you know,
cool.
coming up in the morning and, you know, sitting out at their break time. So
That's great.
it's exciting.
That is exciting.
Mhm.
And it could be outside of Prometric.
Well, I think those that inspire me the most, I think, is my team. I have a great team. The BA team, they're amazing. And my manager, especially, she really pushes us, and she okay, I think I have to start that one over.
Cool. Go ahead. Who inspires you?
Those that inspire the most are my team, my coworkers, my manager. Especially, I can think of one time that one of my coworkers was on a project. I was new to Prometric, and I followed him on this project for a couple of weeks until they pulled me off. And seeing the dedication that he put into that project, it was amazing, that the time and the effort he put into it. And honestly, it led to such a great release of that product that you can look back and see that if it wasn't for his dedication on that, then, you know, it would have had maybe some more problems, but it went really well because of him.
Good.
I thought about this, and even outside of Prometric, those that inspire me, and I go back and I keep going back to my kids. I want to show them that they can accomplish whatever they want in life. And when I had children, I didn't have my degree yet, and so I got my degree after becoming a parent. And knowing that, showing them the importance of education and going after a goal, I told them I've always wanted a degree, so I went after it and wanted to show them that, you know, even at my age, I could still go. I could still go do it. That's right. So.
That's great. Awesome.
Honestly, when I came to Prometric, I wasn't really sure what they did, but once I learned what they did, I'm proud to work for Prometric and work for a company that gives or provides such an invaluable service to candidates. Like I said, I was in their shoes, and I know what it means and what it can mean to their career. So it's pretty cool to work for this company.
That's great. All right, so
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Outside of work, my greatest inspiration would have to be my children. They are the funniest people I know, and their innocence and desire to learn is an inspiration. So I'd have to say they are the most inspiring for me. Achieving an inspired state of mind means to me feeling compelled to achieve a goal or a task, regardless of what obstacles or challenges might come your way. It is a passion or a drive, being able to go forth no matter how much work it takes, or how strong or your obstacles are, that you are feeling compelled to achieve a goal. The process in itself becomes just as rewarding as the outcome. My experience in the testing accommodations department is definitely a daily inspiration. The candidates that we service overcome various obstacles and challenges in pursuit of their professional and educational goals. They have the perseverance and drive to, even though they require accommodations, to go forth and pursue their certifications and licensures. I recently made the decision to forward my education and continue my education and pursue my bachelor's degree. And as a full-time employee and a mother of two, soon to be three, I knew that this would be a daunting task. But I'm proud to say that my candidate's perseverance has an infectious sort of, drive on me as well.
That's exciting. Good.
It's something that I would like to have under my belt. I like to have it under my sort of professional arsenal. So I'm definitely interested in human resources management. So I felt as though I've already started my degree, and I'm just ready to go ahead and push through and finish to the end. I like to think that my positive attitude and strong work ethic are my two biggest strengths. I'm always willing to go above and beyond the call of duty or do extra work. Anything that can highlight the testing accommodations department in a positive light, I'm willing to pursue. I think that I'm willing to come in early or stay late if needed. I've also contributed to our rewards and recognition program in the testing accommodations department. In addition to, I've made some contributions to our SharePoint page and helped develop our VIP candidate process. And I think all of these contributions help add to the morale of our department. And I think positive employee morale has an impact on the success of the department. I feel like when employees are recognized and they feel like they're appreciated in their job, the drive to make a difference is that much stronger. And they're willing to do so regardless if it means extra work. Sounds corny, but my mother would be my greatest inspiration. She has been an excellent role model for my siblings and myself. She has taught me that, you will face challenges in life. And even though you have these challenges, they should not be used as an excuse not to pursue a goal or not to try. She has taught us that, if you want something bad enough, you should be willing to work hard to get it. This is a good question. It makes me think of our mission and values here at Prometric, specifically value number 6, which talks about, correcting operational errors and being proactive. I think, again, in the testing accommodations department, we live and breathe proactiveness. We've developed, as I mentioned, the VIP candidate process, where we handle unique candidate situations, and we try to foresee any impacts that would impact or affect the candidate's experience overall. So I think my department as a whole has really been proactive in making sure that we have a flawless candidate experience. As I mentioned, the work we do is so important. Specifically in my department, we service a demographic of people who would normally be overlooked, I think. A lot of times if you have a disability or if you have a specific challenge, people automatically count you out. And I think that what we do in the specific cases that we handle give people sort of a motivation to say, yes, if I can do it or if they can do it, anyone can do it.
Okay.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
All right. Any work?
Well, what has inspired me outside of work is people. I volunteer a lot of my free time with Chicago Cares. Chicago Cares is an organization that works with underdeveloped teens in low-income areas or schools to give them the tools to succeed in college or even get to college. I devote a lot of time working with them on resumes and just talking to them every weekend and seeing what they go through on a day-to-day basis, and they can still come into the office with positivity and their eyes light up when they see all the volunteers that are there to help them. It really inspires me that they want to move forward. They want a better future than what they've seen in the past. The biggest thing for me is a lot of people confuse motivation with inspiration. For me, motivation is, I got to do this. Am I able to do this? Is this right for me? Whereas inspiration is inside of you. It's part of your spirit. It helps you to decide what you can do the best, where you can make the biggest difference. And looking back, being a part of someone's life to help them go to college, get their master's degree, become doctors is really important to me. Achieving an inspired state of mind to me means doing something that you love. When you know that you're making a difference in someone else's life or career that's going to impact even the world. Within my role in Prometric, I feel like I make a difference every single day, working with candidates who are looking to improve their family's livelihood, who are becoming doctors, architects, accountants, who are basically running the world. I feel that I play a part in that, and it really makes me feel good every day and inspires me to go above and beyond in my role every chance that I get.
That's great.
So an experience that inspired me to go on and achieve a goal. a year and a half ago, about 3 months into my role as a test center manager in Chicago, I was involved in a failing of a secret shop. My role in that failing of a secret shop propelled my team to rethink all of our processes, from security to the candidate experience. I had a meeting with my team immediately after I got the call that we failed a secret shop, and it brought us together closer as a team. We became a family, and the receptions, well, not the receptions, but the responses from my team was, we are a team and we're going to move forward together, and we support you 100%. And it wasn't a negative meeting, it was more positive. I didn't know that there were flaws in our operational process. I didn't know that what we were doing on a day-to-day basis was going to cause us to possibly lose a client or would affect our relationship with our clients. So immediately after that meeting, we changed our processes from the beginning to the end, from the check-in to the check-out with the candidate. And since then, we've passed every single secret shop and DVR audit, and now our process is flawless from the beginning to the end. We now can send our staff from the Chicago Mega Center out to help other locations to improve their process. So what inspired me from that situation was, everything's not always right. Just because it's been that way for 15 years doesn't mean it's the right way. So being able to take a step back and say, okay, well, we need to improve this process and make it 100% better is a big deal for me, because now that happened to me personally, I can bring that experience back to other testing sites who have had failed to shop or might have some retention issues, and let them know we can't relive the past. We have to move forward, and we cannot let it define us going forward.
Good for you.
So a skill that I possess to better the business is ownership. As soon as I became a Mega Center manager, there were a lot of challenges and opportunities within my specific center. I took it upon myself to not involve excuses. There's no excuses there's not an excuse for staffing issues. There's not an excuse for us to use temporary labor, which is a liability. There's no excuse for us to fail a secret shop. There's no excuse for my site to not have the best customer service. So I owned each and every one of those opportunities and brought it and escalated it, brought it to attention to upper management, and I made changes specifically to improve upon all of those processes. So, dang it, that's not what I wrote.
Well, it sounded
Skill, again, is ownership. Being able to own a mistake or own trying to improve a process and not giving an excuse to say, okay, well, we have 104 candidates to check in today. We're going to have late starts. I do not start my days off that way. Every day we have a huddle with my team, and I make sure that we started off with positivity. We're going to own today. We are going to have 0 late starts, and every candidate is going to be satisfied when they leave. So having ownership every single day has really propelled me forward to help other sites. So there's no excuse. If you have 80 candidates or 200 candidates, we need to own it, and we need to make it happen.
good for you.
So within my career so far with Prometric, I've worked with many different people in different departments within the company. And I can say that it's not just one single person. A couple people specifically that I have been influenced by. Mary Beth Moore, she's a trainer for the company. We worked together on the Baltimore Mega event. She comes from a different background, so she was able to bring a lot of different ideas to a test center that I had not even thought of before. So she inspired me to think outside the box and say, okay, well, we should never say that we can't do it this way. Why not try it this way? And having her there as support made the event very successful. Yoko Kato, she's a director over our Japan Mega Center. She was involved in the Chicago Mega Center relocation. She was an instrumental piece to bring over lessons learned from Japan so that Chicago could be more successful. Having that high of a level come and take the time and spend walking through a construction zone and walking through the space and saying, well, this is something you should think about. And have you ever thought about this? It inspired me to reach out to different people within the organization, that there's no boundaries within Prometric. Prometric, we're one large team. It doesn't matter if you're in Malaysia or if you're in Japan, we work together, and we're gonna come here to support you through this big initiative. So my senior manager, Kim Archer, she works very, very closely with me in the test center. She is over both New York and Chicago. She's been with the company for 20 plus years. She has a lot of experiences inside the test center that she shares with me as a test center manager. And being able to work so closely with her, she utilizes top performers within the organization to be sent out when sites are having problems or when we have a new site build out, so that we're being proactive instead of reactive, making sure that we make the best out of every situation and utilize people who have been through that same situation. I was sent to Dallas, Texas recently. It is a site that is having issues with retention and following proper process, knowing that I went through that in my site when I was first hired. She utilized me to go to that site and assist them through all the problems that they're having as a support line. So now that site is falling in line with Prometric policies and procedures, and they're doing very well. So just thinking outside the box and utilizing different aspects of the organization, Kim Archer has definitely helped improve a lot of the processes and consistency within test centers. I always say this to my team, Prometric is a dream maker. Not only for me and my staff, we've been given so many opportunities to travel to Canada, to go to Dallas to help out a site who needs assistance, who's crying out for help, or to deliver tests on a massive scale. To give every candidate an opportunity to improve their life is very, very important to me. I feel that Prometric is a big family, and I can go to Linda Waters, who is my peer mentor. She's a vice president. To be able to talk to her on a weekly basis would have never happened at any other company that I worked for. So Prometric is definitely a dream maker for me. Okay, Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Okay, look right here and
Okay.
say that again.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
All right, now big smile at the end.
Okay.
Say it again.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Cool.
Achieving an inspired state of mind means to think of an idea or observe someone or something that will help motivate you to implement your policies and procedures to achieve your goal. I guess I was really inspired last year by a particular event that took place. We had a visually impaired TA candidate that attempted to test with us 4 times. And we assembled a team. We arrived at the site, and my particular job was to be there for technical support. So during the time we were monitoring the candidate, I couldn't help but admire the candidate. As I watched him through his struggles, I gained a great deal of respect for him. And that kind of made it personal for me, because now every time he's the face of testing accommodation for me, so that whenever we lose a TA candidate, I see this candidate's face. And that's what helped me, helped motivate me, I guess, to implement policies and procedures, to put them into place so that we will not lose any other candidates. So, last year, the TA team came to the OCC and advised us that they had problems with the candidate testing experience. They also let us know that Zoom text was the #1 reason for candidates being displaced or testing without their accommodations. So I decided to put some policies and procedures into place to help reduce or eliminate that issue. One of the things I did was I talked to the TCAs and advised them that if they did, that they needed to reboot the workstations if Zoom Text failed to launch on the first attempt. I created demos and sent demos down to the site with Zoom Text for the stations that candidates were testing on. And there were a few other things that we implemented. So as of June, we have displaced 0 Zoom Text candidates. Now, one of the other things that led through that, during my investigation, we found out that there were other things as far as operational and technical that led to candidates displacement or candidates testing without their accommodations. So we decided to put together a team, a task force. And we like to call it building bridges, and with the OCC, Global Testing and Support, and the TA team. So we have a member from each team that we put together, and we created policies and procedures that that help us to reduce the candidate impact and issues.
Good.
Work related or personal?
Or outside.
Okay. Well, it wasn't one person. I chose a group of people, which is the OCC. I mean, that's the department that I work for. And the reason I chose the OCC is because we learn from, there's an environment that has been created in the OCC where we learn from each other. So we all have ideas, we exchange ideas, they have opinions. Everyone is willing to help anyone out with any particular task. We also learn from open conversations. We have senior managers, vice presidents. We have a little bit of everybody that walks into that room. And it's amazing to hear the level of conversation that goes on. So you learn from that environment. So looking back, I would say that, I guess I would say it was the OCC and that group and that environment that inspires me.
Very good.
I'm family oriented. I mean, it's all about the family.
I'd say about maybe 2/3 of everybody is responsible
Right,
for
and
another.
I'm
Talk to me right here.
okay,
We're still rolling.
and I'm fortunate enough to have 3 generations living in my house. I have my dad living with me, and my son, and I have a grandson on the way. I have 3 other grandsons, but he'll be staying with me for a little while. So it's refreshing, and it's really nice to have family to support you and to be able to lean on each other. And when I wake up in the morning, I mean, that's who I get my support and my inspiration from.
Answer in a complete sentence.
Okay. What keeps me in an inspired state of mind is family. I'm fortunate enough to have 3, and there will be a 4th one on the way. 4 generations living in the house, and we lean on each other, we support each other, and that's pretty much what gets me going through the day. Outside of work, I guess I would have to say my dad. To see the struggles that he went through and the challenges that he had to overcome, and he's a righteous and an upright man, and that's how I try to live my life, and those are the values that I try to teach my kids. Prometric means, I'll answer it this way. Prometric allows me a chance to serve humanity. And because at the end of the day, it's about serving humanity, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to work in a job and in an environment that will allow me to grow and serve humanity at the same time. You can't ask for more than that. Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Achieving an inspired state of mind mean to you?
When you have achieved an inspired state of mind, you have certainty that accomplishing any dream has great possibility, that any goal is within reach. You have changed your way of thinking, believing that you must at least try and not be afraid to take chances, not be afraid of failures or setbacks, but to learn from them.
Right off the top of your head.
Okay. Achieve an inspired state of mind to me means believing that you can achieve your goals. There's nothing that can hold you back. There is any roadblock or challenges you may face, you have that desire, that passion to overcome that. You have that belief in you. I have been an employee with Prometric for many years, witnessed the company overcome many challenges, and I've witnessed many accomplishments as well. When we've been introduced to the value statements and walking in the candidate's shoes, it changed my outlook on the candidate focus. It inspired me to change my priority and focus more on protecting our candidates. Okay. Not an issue. It wasn't an issue. It's just when we were introduced to the value statements and walking in the candidate's shoes, that inspired me to focus more on the candidates because I felt what a candidate actually felt. The nervousness, the sitting in the chair, the anxiety before taking an actual exam. So I began to live the values. I have the values posted as a reminder to me that every day of our vision, a reminder that protecting our candidates is very important to us. So it helped me change my focus more on the candidate.
You're so good at that.
On average, we test over 700,000 candidates monthly. That's 700,000 candidates that we must protect. We must ensure flawless testing. I am also tasked with ensuring zero displacements during software release. There was a major upgrade release recently where I led a cross-functional team. The cross-functional team was responsible for upgrading over 10,000 workstations. It was a very high-risk deployment, and without continuous Without continuous collaborations, we would have possibly impacted our candidates. The team ran into many challenges, but we were able to overcome those challenges with, again, continuous collaboration, which was very important during this deployment. We were able to save the company over $65,000 with the change in processes that we did during this deployment. A similar team was also organized on the Win 7 upgrade for the ETS IBT upgrade. During the first launch of that upgrade, there was zero displacement. So a change in the process really works. It really works for us. During the Win 7 upgrade project, a cross-functional team was assembled to assist with the project and oversee candidate testing to ensure candidate flawless testing. The upgrade was a success for the ETS IBT launch. The first day of the launch, we had a command center that we monitored, and we had zero candidate displacement. I am inspired more by situations and circumstances than people. During the change in the economy and the impact to the job market, me and my family decided to prioritize our values. We decided to change our priorities and made helping others our priority, helping others in need a priority. So now that I look back on that, I feel that if I'm not helping someone else's life, I'm not fulfilling my purpose and I'm not making a difference. And what better do we do here at Prometric than make lives better? I am inspired more by situations than in people. If I am not making someone else's life better, I feel that I'm not fulfilling my purpose. And what better do we do here at Prometric is make lives better.
Awesome. That really helps. Thank you so much for.
In my current role, I have the opportunity to work with various employees in various different positions on many projects. There's one individual that comes to mind. They have built strong work relationships with the stakeholders, both internal and external customers. They involve the key players early on, key players, the hands-on players. And because of this, it helped projects run smoother. She helps with, did not want to say she, fostering open, can we cut? Can we cut? Yes, cut.
Just restate it right from where you are.
Okay. In my current role, I do have the opportunity to work with many employees in various departments on many different projects. There is one individual that comes to mind on the account management team that account management team who has made their scope and influence better by building trusting work relationships, by involving key players early on, the key players that's doing the work, that's hands-on, face-to-face with the work, early on in the projects. And by doing this, it helps the projects to run smoother. It helps the projects to help to identify issues early on. The account manager, I can't do it. I have to do it over. This was it that comes to mind. I am inspired by my coworkers in account management. There is one coworker that comes to mind who, when managing their projects or working with them on their projects, they involve the key players early on. By doing this, this has helped with addressing issues or any problems that may arise before the project actually kicks off. We're able to address these issues. She's building strong work relationships, again, by involving key players, cross-functional teams early on before the project kicks off, so we can address issues before production.
Good.
Prometric make lives better. Prometric, that's what I have to say. I mean, because that's what I feel that we do. We make lives better. You know, Prometric is a great company. You know, that's all I can say. Make lives better. We do. That's what we do. We make lives better.
We do make lives better.
All right.
Just say that.
Say those words.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.
Now look right here.
There.
Over into this lens and say the same thing.
Prometric is an inspired state of mind.